Well, good morning, everybody. It's a dog. It's happy Frankenstorm to everybody on a Monday morning, 9:30, the normal time for the Weber on Sports Show. Good I can make the regular time today. Lots to talk about, and of course, we're going to delve away from the world of sports and talk about Sandy. I wonder if it's related to my good friend Sandy Lopez. It would have to be the most prolific storm that we've ever seen in the history of weather, with my friend Sandy Lopez, his first name being the name of this unbelievable 800 miles in width. It's pretty scary. Well, I need not tell you folks that the next couple of days are going to be a little scary, a little hairy. So here's the recommendation from the dog. First off, fingerlakes1.com, where you're checking out the dog here on a Monday morning. Good to be with you. Jimmy and the fingerlakes1.com will have a weather center going continuously. You can click on that, get the latest radar right from the National Weather Service, exactly what's going to take place in our specific area. It's going to be ugly. They're talking lots of rain. They're talking gusts of sustained winds of 50 to 60 miles an hour. They're saying the intensity will be from like 8 o'clock tonight until midnight. And then during the night, as you try to sleep, you're going to hear some winds howling as well. So I guess, as I approach my 68th birthday, we haven't experienced this too much here in this Finger Lakes region. But hunker down. If you don't have to go anywhere, don't. Take my advice. If you can cancel your appointments out of town, cancel them. If you don't have to go to work, stay home. Hunker down, get some water, get some batteries, get some flashlights ready, get some food, because, folks, you don't know what's going to happen the next 24 to 36 hours, but it should be somewhat ugly according to the latest forecast. But stay current. Check us out, fingerlakes1.com, and you'll get the National Weather Service. You'll see all the information regarding rain and regarding wind. It should be quite the next day or two. So I would recommend stay hunkered down. That's where the dog is going to be. Unless I get called out to work, of course, at my new gig, the New York State Thruway. With my luck, they'll probably have me work the night shift tonight. Well, good morning, everybody. Let's move away from Hurricane Sandy. The other night I worked up in Geneva for the New York State Thruway as my new gig is underway. I'm really enjoying it. It's fast-paced. It's a lot of fun. I've got a lot of people going through there that know me, and we're waving, and I'm giving you tickets, taking your cash. I got to admit it's fast-paced. You all know I had a little heart issue this year, but the doctor, the cardiologist, said you got to get some exercise. Standing in a booth, folks, for 8 hours, you do get an hour for a break, I should say. That's fast-paced. When I have to give you a ticket to get on the Thruway and I have to go to the other side of the booth and take your money, and I do that for an hour or two with no help, that is fast-paced. But, I got done my shift on Saturday night. It was rainy. It was cold. It was miserable, dark. I was going to take 318 home, but I said, I'm going to go into Geneva and take that Route 5 and 20 home. On the way in, I needed an adult beverage because I had worked a long shift, and I was looking to get a sandwich. So I stopped at my good friend, great sponsor of ours, Charlie, Lee, and Linda at the Deluxe. Went in there, saw Ellie and all the great people that I know very well. Sat up at the bar. But on the way to Deluxe, I was listening to the Syracuse game, and it was halftime, and the Orangemen were down 23-3. I went, oh my, am I going to have a field day today on this show? I'll be taking Marone's heart out and showing it to you. I'll be doing a fillet on that guy. We'll be calling for his head as the Orangemen once again bumbling, fumbling, stumbling. I'm sitting in the bar having an adult beverage and a sandwich. And I notice it's 23-3, it's 23-10, it's 23-17. I'm watching the Notre Dame game, by the way. They looked great. Now it's 24-23 SU. I go, wow. So long story short, SU pulls out a great, great win with no time remaining. Well, actually 3 or 4 seconds. Game over. Syracuse pulls off a stunning victory, trailing by 20 at halftime. Two ugly halves. First one was real ugly. The second half was ugly for South Florida. Give SU credit. That posts their 4th W of the year with 4 to go. Now, as you look forward, South Florida now is on a 6-game losing streak. A lot of people say that Skip Holtz's job is in jeopardy. But SU's got 4 to go. They need 2 more to become bowl eligible. The magic number to become bowl eligible is 6. They have 4. They got 4 left. Let's break out who they got left. They go to Cincinnati this week, and I don't know why. Cincinnati got beat by Holy Toledo. I got a feeling Cincinnati's going to beat the Orange. I got that as a loss. They come home after next week's game against Cincinnati and play Louisville. Louisville, top 15 team. Not a lot of great defense by the Louisville Cardinals. A lot of great offense, though. Their quarterback, Bridgewater, a lot of great ends. I got a hunch that Syracuse will beat Louisville. That place will be rocking a week from this coming weekend as Louisville comes in the Dome and probably will be undefeated as the Orange will try to give them their first loss. I think Syracuse will beat Louisville in a shocker. Then they go out and play Missouri. I don't like their chances out in Missouri. Don't ask me why, but I think that's going to be a loss. So the way it shapes up to the Dog is they would need to win the final game to become bowl eligible. They would be on the road taking on Shirley Temple. Temple's okay, mediocre at best. I think Syracuse wins that game. They end up with 6 wins, and yes, they become bowl eligible. So the Dog has it. Let's see how good I am at this. I'm not good at predicting anything. I got them losing to Cincinnati. I got them shocking Louisville at home. I got them losing to Missouri on the road, and I got them beating Temple for the final game to become bowl eligible with 6 W's. Let's see how the Dog is. And, baby, I'm 13% of the time right when I make predictions. So you fans of Syracuse that have me just said you're going to lose 2 games, you may win the next 4. Turn our attention closer to home. What a story on Mr. Webb, the running back for Hobart, coming out of Dundee. What an amazing athlete this young man is, and what a great student he is as well, I am being told. How about Hobart? 8-0. You got to go back to 1954 when the last time the Hobart Statesman football team had posted an 8-0 record. 1954. If you're keeping track, that the Dog was 9 in 1954. So unbelievable year for Hobart football. Fantastic. Congrats to the entire operation up there in Geneva, New York. Keep on trucking Hobart. I'll tell you something, folks. I know I picked on Charlie Schaefer and Johnny Capacci about the Fighting Irish. I badmouthed them the last couple of years, said that they would never bring the program to the back in the 60s and 70s when they would vie for national championships. I just didn't see it happening because I didn't think they would get the great thoroughbreds coming to Notre Dame because of their academic standards. I have felt for a long period of time that Notre Dame would not vie for national championships because of their academic standards. They're a fine school. I have a lot of friends that went out there to Notre Dame. You got to have some brains to get in there. Even if you're a super athlete, they demand you have some brains. Thus, I thought, with the Alabamas of the world and these other cats, I didn't think it was ever going to happen. Give credit where credit is due. Notre Dame, under Kelly, is playing great football. Their defense is phenomenal. In my judgment, I watched a half of that game, the last 2 quarters. They look great. Defensively, they were all over that quarterback of Oklahoma. They shut their running game down. They buried Oklahoma, folks, on the road at Norman. Nobody in their right mind thought it was going to happen. The odds makers scoffed at Notre Dame's chances. They lined open at 9.5 with Oklahoma being favored. It went to 12 at game time. Notre Dame wins it, going away 30-17. What's interesting now, the Bowl Championship Series called the BCS, which will pit 1 versus 2 in the national championship game. Y'all know that Alabama's going to be there, okay? I can't see Alabama losing to anybody. But here's the interesting thing about the BCS. Who do you think is ranked second in the BCS? If it were to end this morning, Kansas State would take on Alabama for the national championship game. Not. Now, yes, according to the BCS parameters, they would get the national championship bid. But come on, folks, let's talk about this for a second. Do you really think the country, USA, and the world is ready to watch an Alabama-Kansas State championship? No. They want a Notre Dame-Alabama championship game. So I am convinced that the president of Notre Dame will find a way. I'm sorry to say this. I'm going to hell and back. They will send somebody to those BCS computers, wherever they're located, underground somewhere, do a little tweak. Jimmy can understand this because he's computer literate. Do a little tweak to maybe just move Notre Dame up to the second spot. By what, 1,000th of a point? I find it hard to believe. I can't fathom that if Notre Dame runs the table, and the next 3 are laughers, if they concentrate, they got what? Boston College, Pittsburgh, and Wake Forest. They should win those games. Should win them. They have a showdown with Southern Cal out in California for their finale. But I am convinced that the BCS, under no circumstances, would have Kansas State against Alabama. Everybody wants if it could happen, Notre Dame against Alabama for the title. That's assuming Notre Dame runs the table. I just find it to me, unbelievable that you could have a Kansas State-Alabama finale. We'll see what happens. And by the way, if Alabama were to play Notre Dame in the national championship game, which would be great, you talk about ratings. Hello, ratings. Jimmy knows about ratings. How about a world appeal? Notre Dame is followed by the world, Israel. Seriously, people follow Notre Dame around the world. Can you imagine if they played Alabama, number 1 in the country, against number 2? But I'm going to call that game, and let's think ahead now. Let's think outside the box. I'm going to call this game, if it ever were to happen, and I'm hoping it does, because I'm a sports fan. I'm going to call this game the 3.5s versus the 1.5s. Now, what does that mean? The 3.5 means GPA, because most of those Notre Dame students carry 3.2, 3.3, 3.5 GPA. I think the max is 4, whereas the Alabama folks, unfortunately, carry the 1s, the 1.2, the 1.3, maybe a 1.5 GPA. You ask, why can that happen? Because every school has different admission for these super athletes. And I got to be honest, I have friends that have gone to Alabama. I have friends that have relatives that went to Alabama University. It's a nice school. But if you're a super athlete, a super jock, whether it's basketball or football, and you're trying to get in Alabama, the only question they ask you is, for you to gain entry in Alabama to play on their football team with Nick Saban, is the following. Please spell the word the. Last week, for next year, 2 kids didn't make it. They spelled it T-H-A. The correct spelling is T-H-E. I know I'm making fun of it, folks, but that's the way it is in the world of college football. It's the haves and the have-nots. At Alabama, if you breathe, you'll get in. At Notre Dame, not exactly. So I'm kind of hoping and praying that we find a way to get Kansas State out of the number 2 slot. And if Notre Dame can run the table, you don't think Southern Cal would be waiting for Notre Dame, do you? With their hatred history, it should be interesting. What's interesting to me is a story that we don't talk about, and I thought I'd bring it up this morning. Bill O'Brien in Penn State, the Jerry Sandusky, kids leaving this year, going elsewhere, which they had the right to do. A decimated program. Most prognosticators figured that Penn State would be, what, 2-10, 3-9? They had a 5-game winning streak until this past weekend. They lost to Ohio State. So to O'Brien and his team, they have played inspired football for the Nittany Lions. Kudos to Penn State and the way they have sucked it up and gone on the gridiron and played very, very good football. Well, this goes in the category of Weber's demented mind. You all know I'm sort of demented. I have this ridiculous philosophy that I think about certain things that make no sense at all to you, the viewer. But I'm going to share that with you this morning because I was thinking, and every time I think, Jim knows I get myself in trouble. But I'm thinking about something that must happen in the world of sports. Let's flash back this past weekend. Do you think major college football programs, as they prepare for a game, they get to the site 3 hours before game time? They're getting their ankles wrapped. They're in the ice or they're in the heat, getting heated up for the game. Do you think these major college athletes, like Colorado, the Buffaloes, were playing in Oregon, do you think any of them have a USA Today paper with them? I would think if I was a major college athlete, which I was never one, I would have a paper because I am a nut about reading sports. Do you not think somebody in that locker room with 110 kids and coaches included would not open up the USA Today? As you've got to kill time before you get on the gridiron. And you look in the paper and you see the Las Vegas line. Now, that's not illegal. 90% of newspapers around the country show a line, which is how many points a team is favored over another point. Basketball, hockey, heavyweight fights, and, of course, the college and professional NFL. Cleveland, 1 point over San Diego. Alabama, 24 points over Mississippi State, and on and on. It's a long list, longer than Abraham Lincoln's beard. I was thinking about this. If I was a Colorado Buffalo the other day, and I was in Oregon getting ready to play them, and I saw, there's the line. Where are we? They got us. Oregon's favored by 46. 46-point underdogs to Oregon. Do you not think some of these kids see that before the game in the locker room? We're talking 21st century here, okay? Maybe they saw it online because Jim's a computer nut. Maybe they went online and saw they were 46-point underdogs. Wouldn't one guy say to another guy, are you crazy? I could take my tuition payment from the government that they just sent a check, and I would go get somebody to go out to Vegas and bet on us with 46 points. That's ridiculous. That's 7.5 touchdowns. You know how many you know what the final score was? 70-14. They lost by 56 points. I mean, come on, folks. I can't make this stuff up. So a 46-point loss in the series of that game, and we're all cracking up the fact that, well, it's 46 points. You know, there's no way we can't cover 46. The game is over. Guess what? They lost by some 56 points. Well, you're checking out Weber on Sports here on a Monday from FingerLakes1.com as we approach and await the approach of good old Frankenstorm. We'll come back with more, but let's take a break and hear from our great sponsors. Welcome back, everybody. It's continuation of Weber on Sports on a Monday. Hope you're all having a good Monday a.m. Let's talk about the World Series. Know the truth of the rumor. There's no such truth to the rumor that the Detroit Tigers, before they played the Giants in the World Series, decided to put on the Yankee uniforms. No truth to that rumor whatsoever. They did not borrow the pinstripes and let them be adorned by the Tigers. Oh, what a pitiful series by the Tigers, huh? You had a feeling something was going south when Verlander gets rocked in game number 1. One of the best pitchers in the game of baseball. No offense, erratic pitching. Giants win it 4 straight. Get out the brooms. And oh, by the way, Giants winning 2 out of the last 3 world championships, and the Tigers definitely, can you say Gagorama? What are you going to do, baby? That's the game, and we play it, decide how we turn it, because one time you win and sometimes you lose. Well, let's talk in the world about the NFL. NFL, how about those Giants? 23-0 lead. I'm thinking, well, this is a cakewalk. Tommy Coughlin smiling all the way to the bank and all the way to the bakery. But, you know, things have a way of changing. All of a sudden, the Cowboys get a new life, and they get a couple of chippy scores, and all of a sudden it's Dallas 24, Giants 23. Are you kidding me? I was telling Mary as I watched the game yesterday afternoon, this could be the collapse of the century, and this could go down as Tommy Coughlin, our Waterloo native and our great guy down the street here, would probably rank, if they were to lose that game, the worst loss in his illustrious career as a coach. Had to be, leading 23-0. And by the way, that 23-0 should have been 38-0. But the Giants pulled it out at the end, so a W is a W. You know, these Jets, aren't they something, Rex Ryan, huh? They just keep on talking. Talk. Rex says, we got to figure this out. Just show me some W's. Show me the money. Just win, baby. Rex keeps talking. He won't pull Sanchez out. He should give Tebow a shot, but he won't. And let's talk about the Jets. They continue to talk. They're embarrassing themselves. And, of course, the worst baseball team in America is the Mets, M-E-T-S, and now the worst football team in the Northeast, except for the Bills, are the J-E-T-S. They're embarrassing. Rex Ryan's got to shut up. That team is not very good. Sanchez is not very good. Give Tebow a shot. Why did you sign Tebow if you're not going to give the guy a shot? That's my point. Speaking of giving somebody a shot, I know Andy Reid, the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, is a good close friend of the owner, and that's what's kept him around there for many, many years. But I think that's getting a little stale. You know what, folks? It's time to sit down Michael Vick. Eagles underachieving once again, not getting W's, got blown out by Atlanta yesterday. It's time for them to say to Michael, go get a book, go in the library, read it. You're not going to play. Sorry. Give somebody else a chance. They are still underachieving to the degree which is stupid. And you'll wonder, how does Norv Turner of San Diego continue to be the head coach out there? They go into the mistake on the lake yesterday, Cleveland, and they lose 7-6. Phillip Rivers, that high-powered octane team. Give me a break. How does Norv Turner continue to run that operation? Every year they say they're going to axe him, and every year he escapes it. It's scary, the thought of that guy still working as a San Diego head coach. Well, speaking of the Jets, you know, I'm old enough to remember the days of Butkus and Ditka, Karras, and some of these classic people. Of course, Ray Lewis now, who's out with an injury, a serious injury. But I don't recall ever reading where Mike Ditka or even Urlacher for the Bears, I'm not playing Sunday. I got a toe issue. My toe hurts. What? Your toe hurts? You know what Mike Ditka would have done with a toe issue? He would have got his wife or his girlfriend or his kids to chop it off and wrap it up and throw it in the Chicago River and gone out and played. What the hell's going on with a toe issue? These guys are NFL players, man. Vince Lombardi, rock'em sock'em, playing 28 below zero weather, driving sleet storm. The toe hurts. Bart Scott, the big baby for the Jets. I can't play. I got a toe issue. Chop it off, amputate it, throw it in the river, play football. What a bunch of prima donna babies. Let's go to racing. Martinsville, NASCAR, Jimmy Johnson, JJ, nips it at the wire. I watched the last part of that race. Jimmy Johnson now takes the points lead in the chase. He leads by 2 points over Brad Keselowski. Should be a great finish. For all you Danica Patrick fans, we have an update. She didn't race this weekend. And you know, this coming weekend, if you're into horse racing, and I don't follow horse racing that close, but there are certain exceptions for me. And one major exception is the Breeders' Cup. The Breeders' Cup is 13 to 14 races over 2 days, contested at some of the classic tracks. Churchill Downs had it 2 years in a row. This year it's out in Santa Anita in California. Now, we're not talking Finger Lakes racing here. We're not talking Belmont or Aqueduct. We're talking about the best thoroughbreds and fillies and everybody who competes in the world of racing around the world. Every country in the world that has a horse that's good enough that he's either made enough money, had enough W's to be invited to participate. This is the best of the best, the cream of the crop, the ice cream on top of the apple pie. Nothing compares to it. You have nothing but great fields, usually 12 to 14, 15 horses in each race. You can make a lot of money if you get lucky. A lot of upsets usually happen. A lot of long shots come in paying $40, $50, $60. It is classic viewing. Breeders' Cup, NBC Sports Network on Time Warner, Channel 55. It'll be on from, I think, 3 to 7 or 4 to 8 on Friday and Saturday. DVR it. 2 days of racing. And I recommend, if you got a couple extra bucks, go up to OTB and bet them a couple of bucks on each of these nags. And I use nags, a loose term, because they're the best of the world. Nothing like it in the world of horse racing. It culminates the year of 2012. By the way, let's talk about some local things going on here. 3 cheers goes out to the Mid Lakes varsity cheerleading team as the Screaming Eagle girls winning the Class B championship contested at RIT this past Saturday. My granddaughter Izzy, my wife Mary, and a bunch of my family members and friends went up to RIT to check out the action. And we want to congratulate Geneva and Waterloo, who also competed. They did a great job. But Mid Lakes wins it, winning the Class B cheerleading competition. So shine your shoes, dust your collar. All from Mid Lakes, stand and holler. Congratulations, Mid Lakes. By the way, some other local notes in the world of sports. Let's give credit to number 8 seed Red Creek, upsetting number 1 seed Naples, Shock City, in a game that was webcast by FingerLakes1.com this past Saturday down in Cohocton. How to get to Cohocton? Ask Jim Senecropi. He figured a way to get there. But that one was a 1-0 defeat. Number 1 seed Naples loses a shocker. Brendan Harrington with the play-by-play. Congratulations to number 8 seed Red Creek for pulling off that major upset in a game that we hope you checked out here on FingerLakes1.com on Saturday. And congratulations goes out to number 1 seed Minders Academy as they and number 1 seed knocked off Addison. Final score was 4-0. So congratulations. And by the way, a couple of football notes locally. The Geneva Shane Sweeney, what an outstanding year the Geneva football program has had. Phenomenal success. They lose to Livonia at time expired on a 37-yard field goal by the Livonia kicker. Fantastic game. Heartbreak city for Geneva, but you can't put your heads down in defeat. Geneva's had a spectacular season, and all of us here, from Jim Senecropi and all of us here in the sports department, we send out our best to Geneva High because you folks had an outstanding year. And kudos to Newark. They got beat 27-0, but they likewise had a great year as well. So to all of the area teams that have excelled in the various sports that are taking place, we thank you and we congratulate you for your gamemanship and your ability to compete at the highest level. And unfortunately, somebody has to win and somebody has to lose. Well, Monday Night Football tonight, if we have power, Arizona against San Francisco. The odds makers like San Francisco by 7. And oh, by the way, all you folks that said Peyton Manning had lost his arm strength, give me a break. He's still winging that football all over the football gridiron. Last night, he coasted his way with great passing as they defeated the depleted, the underachieving New Orleans Saints 34-17. I don't see one iota of a change in the legendary Peyton Manning's right arm. Well, let's remind everybody that coming up this Wednesday, the Dog and Paulie will put a gift wrap on our program as we close out that offering here on FingerLakes1.com. Again, working for the Thruway and being committed, doing that job now and trying to prepare for this show and trying to prepare for another show. It just wasn't in the cards for me. I have given Paul Hellstrom an opportunity to find a teammate, still in the works, I guess. But we will wrap up the Dog and Paulie show, as it's called, this coming Wednesday, Halloween, as we wrap up the show. And hopefully I'll be here to be able to wrap it up with you. So it's going to be interesting. Again, let's talk about Frankenstorm as we approach an arrival, the storm coming up later this afternoon. Please hunker down if you can. Don't go out if you don't have to. Get yourself some batteries, get yourself some water, get yourself a little bit of food, and just suck it up for the next 24 to 48 hours. And again, FingerLakes1.com, click on Jimmy's website, check out the Weather Center. He'll give you updates as they arrive to FingerLakes1.com. And oh, by the way, to all you Buffalo Bills fans, good weekend for you. You didn't play. That means you didn't lose. Take care, everybody. It's always a slice. That's a look at sports my way.